Welcome back. We are now going to look at creating a sequence diagram. For this, I'll just give you more of a walkthrough of the diagram I've created, just using Excel to keep it simple. Here you see I've just got general introduction comments, and on this I've got the columns for the player, basically the PHP layer between player 1 and the database layer. And the database layer I'm sharing between the two players, and then I've got the PHP layer for the other player and player 2. And outside of this, I just added two columns for the game states, and this links it back to the game state charts that we did in the last part. And so here you can see I start off with player 1 entering the start page. From this, the PHP layer reacts and retrieves the PHP page. In this case, this is a straightforward form, so it's just going to return the actual page. And then once this opens, the player gets a chance to enter their name and submit this. This triggers the get play PHP with the player name, the check for the player name, and then create a new Tic Tac controller. Now with this, the check player exists. It'll actually talk to the database layer and possibly insert a new player. In this case, we've got two new players, so this will take place. And then once we've done that, we'll actually go through and return the play PHP to the player. Now with this, there might be waiting games as well, so that's another step with the database that'll come back in the play PHP. Once we've got that, we've then got the games and the new game to display to the user. And then the player, the next stage, selects a game, and the game ID is -1 in this case, and the position they've selected. And now this is a new game. Remember, if they selected a waiting game, the game ID would be the ID of that game and the position. Then we check the player names given and go through creating the Tic Tac Toe controller again, checks if the player exists, checks for existing game. There won't be. The move is then triggered, and then we save this, which then inserts the first game state for the game. At the same time, we've got the same things going on for player 2, and you see how they might interlock here. And we've basically got this point here where we go from the state of GS X turn to GS O turn, and this O turn state then is basically waiting for this player 2 to come in and actually trigger their move for that game. In this case, player 2 will find the game as a waiting game that player 1's created. They will then select on a position of that game, and then basically that will update the grid, and then player 1 down here will get a chance to react. And so that's pretty much my sequence diagram. So you can see time increases as we go down, and all I've done is just use shading to track the player, and you can see it's always linked together, and you can see basically this flow. And I think it's a nice easy way to do a sequence diagram. And basically you'd want to create various sequence diagrams for different situations. So we could have an existing player come to the website with an existing game, for instance. So that might be another sequence diagram that you could play out. You'd also play out the sections towards the end of the game where someone wins, and then the process of actually starting a new game, for instance. That's pretty much it for the sequence diagrams. I wanted to keep this one brief, and but you can see here you can almost get a clear idea of the actual parameters you're passing in between the pages, and then how the handover takes place of the gameplay between player 1 and player 2.